We're live.
Ryan. We're live. And
Look at
Joe's here. Joe made it.
Joe did make it.
Right. Well, what do you think? Should we start this bad boy and get this thing going, or what should we just?
I mean, we already got 3 lovely people in here, 5 people that are watching already. See, I told you people were waiting. See?
All right.
I mean,
here we go. We ready to start it up? All right. Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, It's All About the Barbecue Blackstone and Beer Network proudly presents to you another edition of Thursday Night Barbecue Chat. I'm Steve Kress. I am the grill department manager over at Wanamaker's in lovely, beautiful downtown Downers Grove. And it's not in downtown, but it's in Downers Grove. The man sitting next to me, as always, the chairman of the board, Barbecue Blackstone and Beer, Ryan.
What's it, everybody?
Hope.
How are you doing? Hi.
Yeah, I'm back, Ryan.
You're back. Yeah, see? Steve showed up today.
Well, of course.
We didn't need him. We had a great show. I mean, he came in and tried to ruin the show last week with all his loud noise and everything. But,
I did.
You know, it is what it is.
It was really loud. I couldn't hear, so I couldn't tell if I was actually communicating to anybody. I'm actually going to watch it on my my little phone here. So maybe some of these people that we don't know who they are, maybe I'll be able to tell who they are.
Maybe.
By seeing who they contact, like Phil Patrick.
Instead
Phil
of
Patrick's on there.
Hello, handsome gent.
That is Mr. Phil Patrick.
That's Mr. Phil Patrick.
He doesn't want people to know who. So we got a great show today. We got a great guest. Very famous in barbecue in itself. Has a restaurant down there. Does a little bit of the competing thing. There it is. Slaps Barbecue. What does SLAP stand for, Ryan? Do you know what SLAP stands for?
We're going to find out.
I know what it stands for, but do you know what it stands for?
You know, if you give me a 30-second here, I can.
It starts with squeal.
Squeal like a pig.
There you go, baby. Yeah.
I didn't have to Google it.
Someone said handsome gents. But, oh wait! Oh look at I'm playing it. I'm playing it. I was playing us on my phone. Yeah, let's bring him out, Mr. Joe Pearce from Slaps Barbecue. Joe, what's up, buddy?
How are you guys?
Joe, how we doing? Welcome in.
Man, I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
This is the first time I'm meeting Joe. You know what's kind of funny? This is just a funny story because this is the first time. This I believe truly is the first time I'm meeting Joe. We had Craig Carter on a few weeks back, and I was setting up for today's garden show, and I was putting up my Operation Barbecue Relief flag from Panama City Beach back in 2018. And I see this name on the flag, and I'm staring at it, and I sent it over to Craig, and I said, "Is this your signature on my flag?" And he said, "Yes, it was." So Craig and I actually worked together in 2018, and we made such an impression on each other that we didn't remember either one of us. So, but actually, this is the first time meeting. Joe, how are you?
Man, I'm good. I want to say, Steve, I think I've met you somewhere.
Steve just doesn't remember anybody he meets. What a guy.
But man, I don't remember when. It might have been, I don't know, it might have been up in Wisconsin or something like that. But
yeah, I've never made it up to Wisconsin.
Okay, then it must not have been you.
It's okay, Joe. We all try to remember that we don't really know Steve.
All right. It is a memorable face. I do understand that how that happens, but maybe you just saw on show some. I'm very popular on the internet.
Yeah. No,
that's what it is. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
It happens.
So Joe, take us through. You do quite a lot, and you're successful in a lot of things.
Arguable.
But for this show, you're successful. What got you hooked into barbecue? That's how I always like to, because I always like to. You guys always do this, and you do this for now. You have the restaurant and all that other stuff. But what made you start?
Yeah, we grew up in what we call the barbecue capital of the world here in Kansas City. I kind of coined the phrase, we're born, bred, and barbecue fed here in Kansas City, and man, we've gone to eat barbecue ever since I was probably in diapers. You know what I mean? So my dad we'd always make the joke. We would go down to one of the establishments in Kansas City that might have not been in the best areas to go eat food in. My dad would always make the joke, if the shell casings were on the ground, that was the good time to get in and get out before there was any other problems. And and so, we grew up kind of inundated with the barbecue world. My dad, we were big outdoors people, and so we were always camping or grilling or just being outside in general. And he liked to cook over open fire, and I still think to this day his smoked turkey breast is probably like one of the best bites of food I've ever had in my entire life. So I got to play with fire as a kid, and I get to sit around a campfire and burn things and try to cook. And I remember one year, it was my brother's birthday. We tried to build an oven out of sticks and foil and bake a cake at a campground, which didn't. I don't think it worked, but we just kind of had that passion to kind of cooking over open flames, and that kind of turned into barbecue. And I think one of the first things I did as an adult when I got my own place was buy a grill, buy a smoker, and start burning some meat. And for us, getting into the competition was kind of an accident. My brother and I obviously are close, but we were working in different fields. And I was talking to him on the phone one day, and I said, "Hey, let me call you right back. I got to wrap a brisket." And he goes, like, "What do you mean you're wrapping a brisket?" And I was like, "I'm cooking a brisket. I got to wrap a brisket." He was like, "I'm cooking a pork butt. I got to go wrap it." And so we were both cooking barbecue at the same time, with some brother intuition. And so we basically got off the phone, went and did what we needed to do, and came back and said, "What you're cooking barbecue too? What's going on?" And that kind of sprung into, buying smokers together and swapping stuff out and sharing recipes and getting together to cook. And next thing you know, we're sitting at a barbecue contest in North Kansas City, Missouri, kind of down the street from where we grew up, around St. Patrick's Day. And we got to a contest on Wednesday. Most people don't get the contest on Wednesday, but we got there on Wednesday, and we set up camp. And we had a truck, a 15 passenger conversion van, and a 16-foot U-Haul filled from floor to ceiling. And most people bring lawn chairs. We brought like wrought iron furniture. Like, it was brutal. And but we were out there, and the weather was nice, and we cooked some food. And I don't think we did very good, but I think we finished 17th in pork out of about 100 teams there. And we were kind of hooked, man. We said, this is something fun. We can go out and do this and see what happens. And so 2 weeks later, we went to a barbecue contest in Lansing, Kansas. And I think we were third in chicken, first in ribs, second or third in pork, and fifth in brisket. And we finished reserve. And we was like, well, this is what we're going to do the rest of our life. We figured it out. This is it. We got it. No, we don't have to. We've climbed the highest peak. We are at the top echelon of all barbecue, and we're going to keep going. But that kind of, that set the hook, right? And from there, it was just how to be bigger, better, and continue to learn and grow in the sport. And I use that term very loosely, food sport. But yeah, so my brother and I are very OCD kind of people, obsessive compulsive. When we get into something, we get into it. Like, there is nothing that's going to stop us from doing that thing that we want to do for a little while. And I devoted pretty much a full year of my life to understanding genetics and animals and farming and raising cattle, raising pig, and what type of grain they were fed, and what happens when they're grass fed, how they're slaughtered, how they're butchered, and everything between. And kind of just end up getting this knowledge base that was really beneficial cooking barbecue.
Wow. But hey, Ryan, you and Joe got something in common, and he started off burning food.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not making mistakes, you're not learning, Steve.
Yeah, sure.
But I mean, if you just don't cook and burn food anyways, you're not learning at all.
This way, I never have to worry about burning food, Ryan. I go to places like Slaps, to people who know what they're doing and just enjoy good food. So
you go to places like Slaps. You've never been to Slaps.
Never been to Slaps.
Yeah.
I got to get down to Kansas City. The Kansas City crawl is going to be so. Let's catch up on some comments there, right, guys, so we can get.
I do want to throw this out there for the people that aren't. Your names are coming up blank. If you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and register your name for StreamYard, doesn't cost you anything. It'll actually just show your name. So when you're like Terry White, you said, "Good evening, gents. How you doing?" Terry, what's
I
going
do
on?
have the person that said TV Joe. If you pull that is I have that on because see I'm looking on my phone. That is our good friend Mr. Mark Bayless, and he is with Blues Hog.
Oh yeah, Mark's a good guy. Mark's a good guy.
So, if you want to show your name, StreamYard.com for it.
Well, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't want to be
Maybe
associated
he doesn't.
with the show.
I
Ryan,
mean,
you never know.
we go back and Roy's like, if you've met Steve, you would never forget it because it's a nightmare for the rest of your life.
It's beautiful.
And even Griddles and Vittles with Nick and Jay haven't even met him. They were
they haven't met me or Joe, so there we got both of us on it. But
right
there you go.
Yeah.
So I forgot what I was going to say. Ryan, ask a question because I just forgot the question I was going to ask. I'm watching Mike D down there in the corner, and I forgot what I was going to say.
He is a little distracting down there. I don't.
He is down there. Yeah. Well, we'll get to Mike D. We'll get to you in a moment, Mike D. We'll get to you in a moment.
We have covered the whole story.
So did you? Yeah, but he's got the whole story. Now, were you on Barbecue Pitmasters? Do I remember seeing you on Pitmasters? Or
yeah, speaking of burning food, I burnt food on Barbecue Pitmasters. It was I think it was the second episode of the season we were on. And
there you go. Okay.
We were cooking like it was all beef, like burnt-ins, beef tenderloin, and ribeye, and I accidentally set the whole set of Barbecue Pitmasters on fire. We were in a field in Tampa, Florida, and I had a chimney of Kingsford briquettes lighting to start cooking a steak, and as I picked it up, one of the coals fell out of the chimney and landed in the wood box of the guy next to us in a dry field. And next thing I know, I literally set this big, thick, I don't know, it was probably like a 2-inch or 2.5-inch thick bone-in ribeye directly on top of the coals on the grate. And all I hear is fire, fire, fire. And they shut down the competition, and they came out with fire extinguishers, and I'm just sitting there thinking, like, my steak is burning on this grill at 1,000 degrees. And so finally they let us get back in there, and I took it and I instantly kind of moved it off of the coals, and the bottom half of it was just charred black. Like, it was brutal. And we had tested the first one, you know what I mean? When you're doing a steak contest, you kind of test one, cook one, and that's kind of the model we had. This was before SCA was around, so maybe we were trendsetters. I don't know. But anyway, so we didn't even have one to turn in to try again. So I took this ribeye off the bone, sliced it into kind of slices, and it was kind of pink, but as food sits around, it looks bad. And I remember sitting there during judging, and my burn-in was great. My tenderloin was maybe one of the best bites of food that those judges ever had in their entire life. It was really good. And then we got to this ribeye, and I mean, it was brutal, like what those guys were saying about it. And I remember Tuffy to this day will make fun of me about burning that steak on national TV. And he was like, Joe, I'll eat any barbecue you had, just don't cook me a steak. And I'm like, I get it, man. At this point it was what was that, in 2014. So, we're coming up on 10 years past that now. I hope maybe I can cook a steak for Tuffy again some point in my life. We'll see.
You can fix it. Let's see, Ryan, he is one of the OGs of barbecue. I mean, you could go way back, but I mean, as far as bringing it to the mainstream, that Pitmaster show is kind of what got a lot of people hooked into, what's going on in barbecue. Just watching you guys do something, because I do have to say, Pitmasters to me is like the real barbecue show. I mean, I've watched Barbecue Brawl and stuff like that, but they get into cooking all this other stuff that isn't barbecue. So it's kind of that was like the real.
Yeah, when we were on Barbecue Brawl, they pitched that to me as this is a legit barbecue show. And they even said it's going to be similar to Barbecue Pitmasters. You guys are going to have barbecue meats that take a long time to cook. You're going to get there. We'll have different pits for you guys to use. There'll be an option. There'll be straight a barbecue competition cooking show. And we got there, and that the season 1 of Barbecue Brawl we on was like me and Tuffy and Phil the Grill and Leanne Oxley, and I'm sure I'm missing people. But anyway, long story short, we get there, and the first thing they tell us is like, "Hey, you have 30 minutes to prepare a dish," and you're like, "That's not really barbecue."
That's a real barbecue.
Yeah.
Did you cook my brisket for me or something?
Yeah, like
yeah, right. It was a pre-cooked brisket.
And it was like a one bite challenge, and that challenge determined kind of who was, the judges were going to pick first based on how you did, and so everybody was kind of grabbing chicken or something. I don't even know. I think Tuffy had like a pork chop maybe, and the only thing I saw in there that I could remotely do anything with, and I was like, well, there's a ribeye. I'm going to take the cap off of it, and I'm going to roll it into kind of a pinwheel and kind of do this, grilled Philly cheesesteak kind of a thing on a toasted bun, and I executed it really, really well. And you could tell when Bobby and Michael took a bite of it, they were like, "Yeah, this is better than everybody else's." And so Bobby got to pick first, and he knew that Michael and I are good buds, and we go back a little bit, and so Bobby picked me first to piss Michael off, and which is good, which is fine. But what that did is it put me, like, I was then the last person to get into the pantry to find the next cook, and the next cook they told us was an hour long, and I was like, again, not barbecue, but okay.
Right.
We'll go from there. And so by the time I got into the kitchen or the pantry, like, everybody took all the easy stuff that could cook in an hour, and I was digging around. What was left for me was like octopus, like just some white fish, like a bunch of vegetables. And so I was digging in around the bottom of a cooler, and I found a big old fillet, a whole tenderloin. And so I cut those into fillets and cooked it well, and maybe didn't execute the way I wanted to, but it is what it is, and we didn't move on from that show, but it was a good experience, and but it wasn't a barbecue show. So
not in the true sense that we think, because I remember I thought the same thing, because I tuned in. Obviously, I was watching to say, oh, let's see if who I know is on the show,
Yeah.
And at that time, I think Lou Holter from Croy Valley was on. I saw that she was on,
Yeah.
and they had this other guy that was on there, and you could tell he was, he was, a meat person type of thing, And they came out and we're gonna do, we're gonna do the special this week. It's gonna be barbecue salads or something, something healthy, and you could just see his face like,
right,
what in the world? I've been cooking low and slow and meat and this and that, and now you want me to cook a barbecue salad? And he's like, it's like it's pretty much like, I think I'm done with this show. Hopefully I get voted out.
Yeah.
Steve, you probably would have fit right in. I mean, you're
I probably would have. I mean, but at least, but you can't bring like barbecue guys on there, and then you're as we all know, barbecue is like an all day type of thing. And it's like these dishes that they want you to make is not like, but Pitmasters was that show.
Yeah. And Pitmasters was a blast. Like, it's every time I've been to Florida to cook a barbecue competition, which is where Pitmasters was, it's always been like 30 and raining, you know what I mean? Just horrible weather, in February, March in Florida. And so I got a bad run of it, but the weather was not very good in Florida when we were down there filming pretty much all episodes. And it's funny, I was just back down in Florida a couple weeks ago with the Blues Hogs guys and Brad and Tim and Michael Simon, and we were filming a couple little quick cook kind of things down at the Daytona race. And guess what? It was 45 degrees and raining in Daytona, and they end up delaying the race until Monday. But we got our stuff done, and it was fun, and hopefully we'll see something come out of that pretty soon. But yeah, man, it's like I got bad luck going to warm places. Barbecue Brawl was the same way. Barbecue Brawl was like in February down in Austin, Texas, which should be warmer than Kansas City, and it wasn't. It was, again, like 35 degrees and windy and rainy, and it was so I've not had good luck with good weather on TV shows. Maybe
one.
I don't even think
because you were on you were on Michael Simon's Barbecue USA, I believe, because
Yeah.
I don't know if they followed you, but I know they followed Fergie, and I remember you getting a lot of calls and this and that. But
Yeah. If you
I
go
don't.
back and watch that episode with Fergie on there, you'll see somebody real familiar that wins that episode, and it was me.
I don't. It was.
Yeah. So in Olathe, they followed us, Fergie, Meat Rushmore, and all forked up, and some other guys there. But I don't call my shot very often. But I showed up to that contest with like American Royal, Jack Daniels quality meat. Like I cooked. I think I thawed 6 Wagyu Snake River Farm briskets to find 2 good ones. I bought, I don't know, probably 60 or 70 pieces of chicken to find 16 good pieces. I had 12 or 15 slabs of ribs to pick from. I was just cherry picking everything I saw for a couple weeks before that. So I knew when I got to that contest, I was I was going to show up with better meat than everybody else. And lucky enough, we got the calls we needed and won that day. It was also fun. It was on my the awards were on my birthday that day, so I got to be on a TV show with my good friend Michael, good barbecue people, and then winning but it was a good day. It was a good time.
Nice birthday present.
It was a good one. It was a good one.
Yeah. So we got all the competition, cooking, everything like that. Now the restaurant. How long has the restaurant been there?
Yeah, it's going to be 10 years in June. We opened kind of backwards of what we wanted to do. There's a good shot of it. We we would in a perfect world want to kind of be this established barbecue team that had won everything that there is to win and then open a restaurant, but we kind of did that backwards. We had we didn't even win a barbecue contest before we opened the restaurant. We were just got lucky enough to be on Pitmasters, and kind of how that happened quickly is like they asked us for an audition tape, and at the time I was a creative and technical arts director at a church, and so I had access to cameras, videos, production crews, and so we just put this. They wanted a 30-second to a 1-minute clip about why you're good at barbecue, and I gave them a 7-minute dissertation on the history of Kansas City barbecue, and like I was playing epic music in the background and like tugging on their heartstrings and doing everything that probably a church doesn't manipulate you a little bit that I did on the video. But so we got on Pitmasters, and we're been entrepreneurs our entire life, and we had in the neighborhood we grew up in when we were kids, if you needed your yard mowed, you came to us. We can't have the conglomerate on the yard mowing in our neighborhood. Nobody else could do it. We'd slash tires if you were trying to cut grass in our block. But so my brother and I always kind of been independent entrepreneur kind of guys, and we knew that Pitmasters was in 1 million homes in the United States of America, and we were going to get some publicity, and we might as well see what happens if we open a restaurant. And we didn't think we were going to actually open a restaurant right away. We thought we were just going to have a food truck and do some catering, and we'd find a building with a commissary, and people started, like first responders and neighbors started knocking on the door when they saw the smoker show up, and they said, "What are you guys doing?" And I was like, "Well, we're kind of doing barbecue out of here." And I mean, the community in Kansas City, Kansas just rallied behind us and kind of made it very hard for us not to open the doors to the public. And we opened in line with the season finale of Barbecue Pitmasters, where we end up losing. I don't want to talk about it. Thanks for bringing it up. And but we end up losing Pitmasters, but we had all this publicity. We opened for a soft launch on that. I think it aired on Sunday, and that Sunday we opened at noon, and we sold out in an hour. And we didn't have that much food, but for us it was ridiculous that people would show up to eat our food. And no, I'm sorry, it was on a Saturday. So we did that Saturday. The finale aired Saturday night. We had a big watch party down the street from the restaurant. We weren't open on Sunday. I basically went to a Costco and Sam's and bought ribs and brisket and everything I could figure out what we needed. And Monday we opened, and it was June 14th. And that Monday we opened, and we sold out every day for almost 4 years. Just slinging as much barbecue as we could. And we decided, we probably should get bigger smokers and hire more people and see what we could do to stay open a little longer, try to make a little more money with still keeping our quality there. And it's a fine line. It's a fine line of having fresh food every day and making customers happy and not running out. And barbecue's not quick, as we talked about already. It takes hours to cook something, even if you hot and fast something. A slab of ribs still takes a couple hours, 2.5, 3 hours to get done. So, having to learn that process on the fly in our very first restaurant, was tough, but we did it pretty well. And, we've celebrated, and we'll celebrate 10 years here this year, and it's still going strong. People are still coming out to eat barbecue, and I think we're doing pretty good with it sometimes.
Yeah, I've got my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and family live down in Kansas City there, so we did stop by once. If you guys are going, there's a line, so be prepared to stand in line.
Yeah.
What, Steve?
Lines. I mean, if you know somebody, can you go in the back door and get your order filled?
You can if I'm there. I had my good buddy Bobby Stanfill was just in town yesterday, and I don't always make it down to the restaurants on Wednesday. It's kind of the day I kind of get some stuff done around the house, and it's my prep day for competition barbecue. And so I've just kind of had the schedule where I'm not always down at Slaps on Wednesday. And he texted me a selfie with him and Moni in the line, like, "Hey, we're here, come on out." And I'm like, "Oh, sorry, buddy, not there." And but no, it's I'm there quite a bit. I don't necessarily have to be on the line or in the kitchen anymore. Right. But there's plenty for my brother and I to do. Just constantly trying to grow the business, making sure the wheels don't fall off, managing employees, and seeing what happens next. But yeah, Slaps has been a blessing. It's crazy for me that people show up from all over the country, and even in Kansas City, to come still want to eat our food, and they enjoy it. And so as long as people keep showing up, we're going to keep slinging barbecue, and we'll do that until it runs out. It's going to be fun.
So now I'm going to bring it back up, but you got the, you got the building there. There's some seating outside. There's a patio off to the left. And then there's also like an upstairs patio, the brick building on the front, on the left side of that picture.
Yeah. We have a rooftop patio and an outdoor patio. That's pretty much, in the winter, it's completely enclosed. We drop down vinyls and have big heaters in there. So even if it's cold outside, it's not too bad on the patio. It feels enclosed. It's still a little chilly, if it's, we had a cold spell here in Kansas City in January that was like the wind chill was like -35. You're going to be cold everywhere you go there. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're inside or outside. But yeah, no, it stays pretty warm. And in the summer, there's a bunch of fans moving air. And so if it's not 1,000 degrees outside, it's okay. But the rooftop's a cool spot, man. There's kind of you get to overlook downtown, and there's some heaters up there and some lights, and it's a really cool spot to eat a barbecue meal if the sun's not bearing down. We got sunshades up there that kind of keep the sun off you, but we've kind of grown almost as much as we can in that building with seating, and so now we're just kind of in a spot where we'll just keep putting people wherever they can. So that's why you see the picnic tables out in that front parking lot, and eventually we'll probably do some sort of raised platform there that has level seating on it with some umbrellas or whatever it is. But we're kind of maxed out with the amount of seating we have at Slaps. There's not so much more we can do, but we stay busy. We do. My brother knows the number because he likes to look at that stuff, but we do about 1 million plates of food a year through Slaps, and which is crazy. You know what I mean? When you think about a 1,300 square foot kitchen, that's just
right.
Tiny,
it's not a big place.
It's not at all. And but we've done pretty good about trying to be efficient as we possibly can, and as quick as we possibly can. So
I was going to say, I think when I was there, that red truck that's all the way in the back, I think I was a little bit farther past that when I got there to get in line.
Yeah. In the summer on a nice day, man, we can have 75 to 100 people in line outside the restaurant pretty much through all of lunch, and then when you start talking about, I'll brag on my city a little bit with the Kansas City Chiefs winning another Super Bowl. When you talk about January, February, when we have playoff games, AFC championship games. I mean, we'll have 200, 250 people in line right up until the game starts, and then it's obviously ghost town because everybody's inside watching the game. But like those are the crazy days that baffle me when everybody wants to get barbecue prior to a football game, and then whether the Chiefs are in the playoff or not, they show up for when they're playing the Seattle Seahawks or the Chicago Bears or whoever it is. They'll show up and eat barbecue either way. Yeah.
Even though it's the Bears, I mean,
Bears.
I got.
They know it's a gimme. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like we still got to eat, but we still got to eat.
NFL. Hey, we lost plenty of games this year. It was rough, but we got the last one, so that's all that matters.
I went to the Chiefs Bears game for my 40th birthday. It was here in Chicago, and
how'd that work out for you?
I don't remember it. I knew we lost. There's a guy named Chico.
Yeah. Chico.
This guy Chico we bumped into. He's just throwing shots left and right. But anyways, I'm gonna throw. He's just chowing down.
Well, we started. Joe's got to know the history. When we had Michelle O'Gwin on here, and we were trying to find Mike Davis to answer something. So I decided that because Mike Davis is always everywhere. So I decided I'm going to start this segment. Where in the world is Mike Davis, or Mike D as we call him? So I sent him the code. And so today, believe it or not, this could be like an unusual event. There's going to be 2 simulcast things here because he is actually at Sweet Swine of Mine at Mark Lambert's place. And tonight is usually Thursday night. Mark and Ashley do old school down there. And I can see from the picture down there, if you bring Mike D up, Mike's actually shoving food down his mouth.
We eat on our show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're doing a class down there this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Can you hear me? Yeah, we've got a class this weekend. It starts tomorrow night. How you doing? What was Mike D?
Are we leaving the show? Or
yeah, Mississippi.
There you go.
And see, we eat on our shows.
Yeah.
Well,
let me show you real quick.
If we were all together, we'd be at Slaps, and we would be.
Hey, I could be at Slaps. This is what we do here. There's Mark Lambert. There's Ashley. There's Mark right there. There's Mr. James Cruz in the house.
What's up, Cruz?
There's KB in the house.
What's up?
Who's on there? James Cruz and Ryan.
Well, where's Ashley? Well, give Ashley his time. I mean, geez, Louises, you ignored the big guy. There he is.
How you doing, man?
Well, he's
Ashley.
Live too. Look, we're sort of live here too. So
yeah,
I know.
We're double live.
They let me talk a lot over here.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I hope y'all are doing well, and it's good to see you, and hope to see you soon down the road. Y'all come on and go to Fort Worth with us next week.
And let Ashley know not to comment on Facebook posts anymore.
I'm the T-stir, baby.
He is no longer an influencer. He's an instigator. So look, we're here at the Sweet Swine of Mine distribution compound in by Hell Yeah, Mississippi. Steve, you've been here before. You've seen it. Look at all that right there. So this is what we're working on for this weekend.
Oh, come on. I mean,
if you want to know how to win one of those at any contest in the month of May that has on site, this is the class to take.
Well, here's the deal. I got two members of the Memphis and May cooking crew that was down there with me in Memphis and May last year, coming down to that class this weekend.
Who is it?
Greg Hasty and Jamie Stuckey. They're coming down there this weekend. So they're gonna hopefully learn everything they need to learn.
We already got some that are here from Connecticut. We've got people from Connecticut already.
Oh, I know those guys. Yeah, is that an American Royal winner? That is an American Royal winner right there.
It is.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah,
hey,
good stuff.
You're double live.
There you go.
So this weekend,
see Ryan, this is better than the griddle crew. See what I'm saying? I mean, we got.
No, I don't know about the griddle. I mean, we can have a griddle crew on a Wednesday.
See, this is nice when I'm in control, though, because it's nice because we just go like that. You know, I have no problem moving stuff around.
There you go.
Well, it's okay. all right.
seriously,
I'm a Blackstone guy. I'm a griddle crooker.
I'm
Like,
just kidding.
it's okay.
hang on. What do we got? We got.
She's Mike D. Let's get this moving here, Mike D.
We don't have. We got a blaze. We don't have any Blackstones in the house. I don't believe.
That's all right. I don't
Probably
discriminate.
everything else though. You want a griddle? We got griddles. We got griddles everywhere. Anything you want. You need. Hang on. There's got to be one back here.
You need Mike D as your spokesperson, Joe.
You need a CTO. We got them.
Yeah.
You need a metal streak. Oh, here's a Yoder. You need a Yoder. You can make that a griddle. You can put a griddle on that.
Jeez.
But seriously, if you want to know how to do a whole hog and the presentation for Memphis in May or any MBN or shoulder or rib, this is the place to be. This is the place to be this weekend. And this is how you learn how to do that right there. You see all that hardware up there?
Oh, I know. He's got a lot of hardware, but
If I knew we were going to get into a measuring contest about how much hardware, I would have gone up to my barn and
yeah, right. Show the picture that
I would have pulled out some trophies, but no, I mean, listen.
But they're all at Slaps right now, aren't they? They're all up in the restaurant.
Well, listen, I've filled up so many at Slaps, they're now overflowing into my office and into my barn. So
that's a good thing.
I like when we do video stuff at Slaps, I like to use American Royal trophies as door stops. And I'm like, where'd those come from? Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that one alone, all right?
All right. So this week, Mike D is in Byhalia, Mississippi at Sweet Swine of Mine.
It's Byhalia.
Byhalia, sorry. Like pecan or pecans, whatever you want to. Yeah. So all right, Mike D. Good to see you. We'll see where you are next week. Don't tell anybody. I know where you're going to be
next week.
Well, don't tell anybody because it's going to be a surprise.
All right,
buddy. Tell Mark I said hi, and
I will. Y'all have a great night. Good stuff so far.
See you, Mike.
Thanks,
Take care,
buddy.
Mike.
All right.
Yeah, so that's the new segment. Where in the world is Mike D?
That's
and
good.
Today he's in Byhalia, Mississippi. The winningest county. That's in the winningest county in barbecue.
There's no doubt.
County.
There's no doubt. I do. I wasn't lying. I got 2 guys going down to that class that were on our team at Memphis in May, and they didn't tell me they were doing it. They just said we're doing it, and then I didn't really have any control over it. But listen, Mark Lambert can cook a pretty good pig, shoulder, and rib. So I'll listen to what that guy says any day of the week, and but yeah, a lot of fun. Good times. Good times.
Since we got on the subject of classes, and I know that these had already passed, but you guys do classes as well yourself there?
We do, man. We do kind of sometimes 2 to 4. Like last year, we didn't compete as much as we normally do. It just kind of time to not cook 45 barbecue contests a year. It was I did that for 9 years in a row, 30 to 40 contests, and I have a 4-year-old daughter and a wife and a business, so I backed it off to like 20, which is still quite a bit. Wow. And and we still did pretty good. I think we won 4 or 5, and we were in top 15 or something like that in KCBS. But yeah, we just didn't cook as much, and I filled those 2 classes up. I probably could have filled up one more. We got people asking about it, but I don't like to spread myself too thin in the off season. I like to take a little time off from cooking and just spend some time with the family, and we'll see Matt maybe doing another class this summer or fall. But we've had quite a few people reach out about it. But man, I love teaching classes. I do. I give every single thing away down to the minute detail of what I do, and I get questions all the time. People ask me, are you really doing all that stuff? And I'm like, it's stupid, but I am. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And the reason most of the time I'm doing something, it's because it worked one time 10 years ago, and I still think it works. But, I love teaching, man. I love seeing people that have cooked barbecue for a little while, competition barbecue for a little while, and they come in and we'll finally get to the spot of the class where they're taking a bite of chicken, ribs, pork, and brisket. And you can just see on their face that they're like, yep, I get it. I get it why I'm not very good at this, because this stuff is way better than what I'm doing. And not to toot my own horn, but I think our food's pretty good sometimes, and I've spent a lot of time perfecting how to score in competition barbecue, and I love seeing that. I love seeing it at the restaurant too. I love seeing somebody take a bite of food, and it's one of the best bites of food they've ever had in their life, and that's what gets them to come back. And I love giving people that experience, and whether it's in the competition world or in the class world or in the restaurant world, it's fun to see. It's fun to change people's lives one barbecue sandwich at a time.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I wish I was as lucky as you, because I got a class with Fergie and Smitty up here in Chicago, and I can't get anybody to sign up for it. So anybody that's looking for a class.
Yeah, no, I get it. Those guys, listen,
brisket and chicken.
I would take Schmitty's class in chicken 9 times in a row. That guy can cook some chicken. And Fergie's beat me in brisket for years. Like, he's a good brisket cook. I don't know if he's a better brisket cook. He's a good brisket cook.
I do have this one here. He took the RGC on that one.
Oh yeah, I think I won that one. That was a good one.
Yep.
Yeah. I thought it'd be funny a long time ago. Not a long time ago. I think I maybe said this last year or the year before. There was a bit of craze in the competition barbecue world where people were making T-shirts for other people, and I got some guys made me a T-shirt that said, "I took Joe Pearce's barbecue class and it changed my life," and it was funny and laughed. But I thought it'd be funny to get one of Fergie, and Fergie, if you're listening, this is all in jest, and I love you, friend. But I thought about getting Fergie a T-shirt that said "losing to slap since 2014."
Wow!
I thought that'd be funny. Now, listen, Fergie's beat me plenty of times, but it's he's won. Listen, Fergie has won a world championship, and I have not. So there you go. There you go. If you're in the boat of it's world championships or nothing, Fergie's got more than I do. So
yeah, saying bye to Mike D. Mike D's down there waving in the corner.
Bye, Mike.
Bye, Mike. So yeah, no, that's and as you see, everybody, that is pretty common in the barbecue world. It's a very rough competition, and there's a lot of jabs and a lot of pokes, and but
it's all in good fun.
But the family, the barbecue family, in the end comes to be, and that's just that's what makes it fun. Just like how I poke at Ryan all the time. I mean, it's the thing is, we really don't like each other, but the thing is.
Yeah, I get it. Listen, I think, the mental game in competition barbecue is half the fun. You know what I mean? Like, I think Brad Leininger and I make up more stuff that we don't actually do just to throw people off. You know what I mean? And that's like, I'll take a slab of ribs off an hour later than I normally do because it was extra and I had it, and I'll just leave it on the smoker, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, what is Joe doing with that rib?" And I'm like, "Hey, you'll never know. You never know."
And then Joe wins ribs, and he's like, "See,
that
was that slab that was
extra hour.
That extra hour did it.
That extra hour, man. I tell you
and
what.
The next thing you know, next competition, everybody's throwing their ribs on there for an extra hour.
Yeah. I like to set stuff out on my smoker for everybody to see. Like stuff you would never use, like like a original bottle of Casey Masterpiece. You know what I mean? Just sitting on the firebox for everybody to look at, or something crazy like rice wine vinegar. Like in the background of a video, like, "Oh, Joe's putting rice wine vinegar in something. That's smart."
That's smart. I like that's smart.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Or it's because I made stir fry the other night and it's just sitting on the counter.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there'd be some griddle cooking there, but
no, absolutely.
Well, you didn't even ask Joe if he wanted to come up for your griddle battle thing.
I didn't bring up the griddle battle yet. But
Steve,
since you brought it up,
you ask everybody else about the griddle battle thing. Though Craig Carter wants to do one in Kansas City. So
and I talked to Craig actually, and he was on his way down to Tennessee, I believe, and I haven't heard back from him. And the work's been crazy, but yeah, Joe, the next up and coming thing is the griddle battle.
Okay.
All barbecue competition style, but everything's cooked on a flat top.
So I got to cook a brisket on a flat top?
No, it's I mean, it's been done.
Yeah.
I know it's been done, but
Yeah.
no, it's different categories: breakfast,
Sure.
desserts, sandwiches, burgers.
Yeah.
Everything done on a flat top.
That sounds fun, man. I'm always down for trying something that's not cooking chicken ribs, pork and brisket in a smoker on a Saturday. You know what I mean? Like it gets a little mundane after a while, but yeah, sounds good. I love I bought a Blackstone. I think I have a couple at this point, but I bought a small one, like one of the 22-inch ones, to take in the trailer with me so I could like make breakfast at some point when I was on the competition circuit. And that thing sat in my trailer in a box for 2 years. I never even opened it. And then I finally took it out, and I was gonna like make breakfast for a bunch of people at my brother's wedding, and it rained really hard that day, and so I didn't want to stand outside and cook on a Blackstone. So it's never been used. It's up in my barn right now, brand new, maybe a little dusty, but I should probably I have a Blackstone out in my back porch that I use fairly often, but that one's never been used. So
yeah. They're fun. They make good burgers, actually smash burgers, not just regular patty burgers.
There's no doubt, man. There's no doubt. I love a smash burger.
You're leading up to the beautiful burger, aren't you? Right?
You gotta try have you heard of the Flying Dutchman burger?
I don't think so. I mean, I've heard of. I think there's a restaurant calling it Flying Dutchman somewhere, but
it's I think it's an In-N-Out recreation of it, but instead of a bun, it's it's two smash burgers and then an onion for the bun.
Yeah.
Ooh. That actually looks really nice because I used to be able to eat like a Vidalia onion like an apple as a kid, and then as you get older, heartburn sets in, and I just wouldn't recommend doing that anymore. That's a rough night, but no, that sounds great, man. That sounds great.
No,
I always try to eat burgers. I just found a place in Kansas City that has one of the better burgers that I've eaten in a little while called Jefferson's up in North Kansas City. It was really, really solid burger the other day. Really good.
Check that out next time I'm down there. But the other place in Kansas City, off barbecue, off burgers.
Are we on pizza again?
Leo's Pizza.
Did you say Emos?
Leo's.
Oh man, now you're speaking my language. So here's the story about Leo's. My grandfather, who I never met, died when my mom was 18. But he was Italian American, first generation Italian American. He actually him and my grandma gave Leo the money to start the pizza restaurant.
Wow.
Yeah, and so Leo's has always been in our hearts. It's that Provel St. Louis style pizza cheese. It's why we have the Provel cheese on the menu at Slaps. We have liquid Provel that we top on any sandwich or a side. And but no, man, listen, go to Leo's. You get thin crust, extra crispy, extra cheese, extra sausage, and that'll change your life. That's the best pizza in the world.
I've never seen a pizza with that much topping stay straight as can be on that thin of a crust.
Yeah,
I've had more pizza in Kansas City than I have barbecue.
Listen, looks pretty close for me. But man, I started cooking pizzas kind of when those unis came out. I was really intrigued at those guys, and so I started really diving into pizza and cooking quite a bit. I actually 1 year at the American Royal, in between the Invitational, the Royal, we had a kind of a staff party, and I think 250,000 people showed up to it. It was big, and my brother and I sat there and we made pizzas out of a couple unis for hours. Just we kind of let people do toppings and made the pizzas but my top pizza places in Kansas City. Leo's is on the list just for the nostalgia of it, but there's a place in the city market called El Lazzarone, which does wood fire pizza that's really, really, really good. And then the last place, hang on, oh my gosh, it just went out of my head. I can tell you where it's at. It's in Grandview, on the corner of Main and 71. Providence Pizza. Those are my 3 pizza places in Kansas City. And now there's tons of good pizza in Kansas City, but those are the 3 that I like the best. So
yeah.
So it's like pizza, like the sleeper thing in Kansas, because obviously everybody thinks of Kansas City, they think of barbecue, but is pizza kind of like the hidden sleeper of Kansas City, you think?
Man, I don't know if we really have a second category. I think probably steakhouses, steak restaurants are probably the sleeper in Kansas City, just because of our history of the stockyards and the West Bottoms, where all the cattle for the Western United States would come through. We have some really, really good steakhouses in Kansas City. The Majestic, the Golden Ox, Anton's. It's just some really good places. We have some chain restaurants, same shake places as well, that do pretty good. But I think beef in general is kind of Kansas City's undertone. Pizza's up there. Italian food. We have a big Italian community in Kansas City. Our grandfather was probably, I don't know if he was in the Italian mob or was affiliated somewhere or another, but there's stories,
Stories.
There are, man. I won't get into this. I'll tell this story about my grandpa, and then we can move on. But so he was dating my grandma, and my grandma and my great grandma lived just 2 blocks away from where Slaps is. That area is called Strawberry Hill. It's an old Croatian Slavic district of Kansas City, and he was dating my grandma, and he built a still to moonshine in her attic. And
Nice.
he would run the shine down a gutter into a barrel, and when the barrel got full, he had to get the barrel over to where he was taking it. So he stole a truck, went over to crossed state lines from Missouri to Kansas, crossed state lines, got the barrel in the back of the truck, then couldn't get the truck to go forward, so he was driving the truck in reverse across the river, across state lines, got busted for moonshining, right? I don't even think he got in trouble for stealing the car. He just got in trouble for
driving backwards for umpteen number of miles.
And anyway, they sentenced him to 6 months in jail in Jeff City, which is 2.5 hours from Kansas City. But the problem was he was supposed to marry my grandma. And so the story is that he had a twin brother named Rocco. And on visitor day down in Jeff City, they switched places. And Rocco stayed and finished his sentence in Jeff City, and he came back to marry my grandma. And that's 100% a true story. My grandma would tell that story till the day she died. But he had everybody in Kansas City called him Hobo Mike. He had a produce shop down like the 31st and Paseo, and he would go get all the fresh produce and clean it and go down catch fish out of Missouri and bring them up. So he was always dirty and grungy after working all day. So everybody called him Hobo Mike, and he had a little produce shop, and that all the old Italians would come down and get fresh fish and vegetables from. It was good stories, good times. So.
See what pizza brought us to, Steve?
There you go, man. That's a good story. It's one of my favorites.
It is driving it backwards. I think you had me at driving it backwards because I could just see it.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, it's like, how did the guy not get pulled over for driving backwards? I mean, it's
yeah. And this was he was born. I want to say he was way older than my grandma. I want to say he was born in like the late 19 teens, like 18 or 19, and she was born in the late 20s, maybe right at the start of the Great Depression, because my mom was born in 56, so that would put my grandma 25, 26 when she had her. But yeah, so it was during Prohibition, you know what I mean? It was illegal to even moonshine back then, and the times were different during the Great Depression, and he lived through it, and so he did pretty much whatever he had to do to make a buck, and he told my mom he had a heart attack at the age of he was young, maybe 56, 58 or something like that, but he told my mom followed the ambulance to the hospital, and he told my mom that he had to get it off of his chest before he died, but he threw somebody over the Paseo Bridge for bringing drugs into the neighborhood. So I don't know if that's true or not, but maybe it was delusional.
What year was that heart attack?
So my mom was 18. She was born in 56. So been in the 70s, somewhere around there.
Yeah, my grandfather was the same. Yeah, back then there wasn't. I mean, ambulances didn't look like they do now, and pretty much you just went along for the ride and hoped that you made it to the other end.
Yeah. But we have a ton of fun stories like that, man. I always make the joke that our family puts the fun in dysfunctional. We have great family time, great family holidays, but we're loud. Every single buddy in the room is right, and it's not a holiday until somebody cries. So it's just kind of how we go. But
it's kind of like It's kind of like you cooking barbecue. It's all fun, and it's not done till somebody cries.
Somebody cries. So.
Yeah,
it's I still can't figure out why I still come back here every week.
Well, I mean, I saw how excited you were last week when I wasn't on. I was watching the show, and I'm like, I got to bust into this. Ryan's just way too damn happy.
Yeah.
No, it was a great week last week. It was fun.
So, well, just so everybody knows that Joe does have sauce and he does have rubs. They're on the shelf at Wanamaker's. They're in a lot of places. So, if you're looking for the taste of slaps, you can buy some of the products and try and imitate it.
We're switching distribution companies, and long story short, if it's not available in your local store, it will be pretty soon. We had an issue with our last guy, switched companies, not just distribution companies, but manufacturers as well. And so we brought a lot of that stuff in house, and we're actually setting up our own distribution company and own fulfillment warehouse. And so we're taking all that stuff inside. So anytime anybody opens their own business, it always takes a little longer to get going than you think it does. So here in the near future, hopefully in the next 10 to 14 days, we'll have everything ready to go. We'll see.
Well, how close is the you talk about your classes where you tell all the secrets. How close is the rub that you sell? Is that what you use in your competition ribs?
Yeah, without a doubt, man. We call it the perfect blend for a reason. It goes good on everything, and that was a labor of love developing that rub, because barbecue rubs are barbecue rubs. I'm a firm believer, and this is going to take people away from buying my product, but I'm a firm believer that you can show up with Smoking Guns Hot, Blues Hog Original, and as long as you nail your tenderness, you can probably win a barbecue contest, right? And so for me, creating a rub, I hated having 3 different rubs for chicken, 4 different rubs for ribs, 3 or 4 different for pork, 4 for brisket. And so I took everything that I liked out of 3 or 4 different rubs and kind of put them together into one. And I think it took a minute to figure out the ratios, and it took a minute to figure out kind of how to cook on an offset with my rub. But once we figured it out, man, we really started scoring pretty well. And the sauce too, the sauce is a thinner style competition barbecue sauce that is sweet and tangy, and it works really well. And it's used in quite a few barbecue trailers across the competition circuit. So it's good stuff.
So just in case anybody wants to follow that tip from Joe, Wanamaker's does stock Smoking Guns Hot, and they do have Blues Hog Original. The tenderness, you're on your own, but you can buy those from that tip that Joe gave.
There you go. So, man. There you go.
If you want, visit Wanamaker's at 1940 Ogden Avenue, Downers Grove, Illinois. 605.
There you go, man.
And maybe I'll be there.
Maybe if you're not 20 minutes late.
If you're not 20 minutes late, right? So
yeah.
Wow, that was Ryan. It's almost been an hour already. What a fast hour again.
It did. Another great show. Joe, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate you being here.
No problem, guys.
Any shout outs, anything last words?
Last words.
Any last words?
Let's see. I usually think of something creative, but I think I'll probably quote Lawrence Taylor and said, "Don't smoke crack." Let's just leave it at that. And stay in school. I don't know. I got nothing.
You can't be good old LT for
no, man. Listen, if you're in Kansas City, come to Slaps Barbecue, and if you're not in Kansas City, drive to Kansas City, get to Slaps Barbecue. That's what I got. So.
And you're doing Memphis in May and Royal. Are you doing Memphis May and Royal, or
we're passing on Memphis in May this year, kind of to let the drama settle a little bit. And honestly, Michael, Simon, and I's schedule just weren't working to get together in May to get down there to do that contest. But we talked about it for 2 or 3 hours just in Florida last week, and we're definitely coming back to do Memphis in May again, and maybe not with a TV crew and production lights and cameras in our face the whole time, but we'll be there cooking again at some point. But yeah, we're always at the Royal, and we'll cook several barbecue. I got my first contest of the year next week at the Culatha where Barbecue USA was filmed. So we'll be out there trying to win again. But yeah, man, we'll be cooking a little bit, and we'll be at the Royal, and we'll have a good time. We'll see what happens this year.
All right. Before you get out of here, we got some last minute AK Barbecue Man says, Joe, I'm late, but when's your restaurant over the river coming?
That's a great question. Well, I don't know. When brisket stops being like $7 a pound, that's when the next one shows up. No, I think for us, we always look at every opportunity to open a second restaurant. We have a really good thing going at Slaps, and so if it's not a home run, something that we can knock out of the park and have that same experience and feel that our original one has, we've been very, very cautious of doing something else. So the time will come when there will be another Slaps barbecue or another Slaps inspired restaurant, but we'll see what happens. Let the economy settle down here a little bit. Maybe we need interest rates to drop down, get past this election, see what happens, and go from there. So
excellent.
That's a whole nother show.
We're not getting into it. I don't care your political opinions as long as you like barbecue. It doesn't bother me.
That's all matter to me, right?
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Joe, thanks for coming on the show. Look forward to continuing to buy product from you instead of the other place. So let me know as soon as you're ready to go. And right now I have stuff. So, but let me know, and look forward to getting down to Kansas City. And actually, I'll let you know when I'm coming down, and make sure that I come down to visit when you're there. So
maybe for the griddle battle.
No griddle battle. Maybe griddle battle.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We're gonna put on Craig. We'll go have some Slaps and some Leos.
Oh, sounds great. I'm in.
Now I want to try the pizza place. I hear about the pizza place. Anytime someone from Kansas City's on, I hear about the pizza place. But now that Joe says it's a great place, now I want to go taste it.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. Thanks again, man.
All right, Joe. Thanks again for coming on.
Steve, it's been a blast. Yep.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Joe from Slaps Barbecue. What a great guy. Look at that. What a great show. Awesome show.
Yeah, you got to get down there. Try out some barbecue. Try out some pizza. Some good stuff.
Well, not pizza from Slaps.
No, not pizza.
Try
you
some.
Never know. Yeah. You could have a brisket pizza.
You could have a pulled pork.
It's still in here. You could throw that on the menu next week. Brisket pizza with Provel cheese. Yeah. I didn't know that he had the liquid Provel cheese. I mean, that just sounds like I just want to put a straw in it.
Well, see, you didn't look for that when you were down there last time.
I didn't. No.
I just find it. Because you've talked about this. You talk about this Leo's all the time, and I thought that was kind of what a weird coincidence that they're the ones that put up the
money for
Joe, not Joe, but the ancestors, the family, way back.
Put money for Leo's. That's awesome.
That is a good connection.
It was, yes.
Anyway,
but
next week, ladies and gentlemen, and those of you who are still watching, all one of you, I don't even know if that counter is right, because.
Are you still in here watching?
Well, I have to be. But anyway, I thought it was a great show with Joe. We put on some pretty great shows. I mean, I don't know. Last week I didn't see, so I don't know. But I mean, the Griddle crew looked like they were having a great time. I mean, there's a great shows.
Yeah.
So
we have a good time.
Yeah. Next week we have hopefully, and I'm assuming that everything's going as planned. Next week we should have Brooke and Brad from The Shed Barbecue and Blues Joint down there in, I'm going to say it wrong, I think it's Ocean Springs, Mississippi, I think it is. How was I, Ryan? Did you check my address? Am I right?
No, I didn't check your address.
You didn't check my address. But anyway, Brad and Brooke will be on, and we'll be talking The Shed, and we'll be talking them, and we'll be talking Memphis in May probably, and we'll be, if they're, there's a whole thing going around. We could do a whole show just on Memphis in May. We'll see where Mike D is in this crazy world. He's heading off somewhere good again. I know where it is, but I'm not going to tell you guys. So
where in the world is Mike D.
Mike D. You know, we need to get a graphics person. We need to get a little like a little globe with like Mike D waving behind it or something. So that
we could, we do have the graphics art designer, Mr. Joe Gallo.
Joe, or how about Jeff Gallo? Is Joe Gallo his brother? Jeez. Wow.
Mike, what did I say? Mike Douglas?
Mike Douglas, Joe Gallo.
Yeah, we had Joe on the show, so it's Joe.
Is Joe Gallo? Is he the one that does wines? Ernest? Yeah. No, that's Ernest and Gallo. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's close. That's Jeff's cousin.
All right, guys. Every Thursday night, come in 7 p.m. Central Time. It's all about the Barbecue Blackstone Beer Network. Thursday night barbecue chat. 7
p.m. Central. And as always, please be kind and courteous to everybody. Be nice. Let's start spreading the love. Let's be happy. Let's just enjoy some nice barbecue and some conversation and not always be bickering about everything. Because after all, hey, barbecue is just fun. So anyway.
And so are we.
Okay. So we'll see you next week with Brad and Brooke from the Shed. And we're out. See ya. Bye, everybody.